Hello and welcome to another Wilderness Tamed video. In this one we're looking at the two anurans, that's frogs and toads, tailless amphibians, very common in the UK. This is the common frog and its close relative, the common toad. We'll look at the benefits of putting a pond in your garden to attract them there, why you want frogs and toads in the garden, and the differences between them, their courtship and mating rituals, blah blah blah. Okay, so stick with us and let's get to know some common amphibians. So here we are in late February, early March in the Wilderness Tamed Garden, and always the first to arrive, usually, in a garden pond are the common frog, Rana temporaria. You're probably all familiar with frog spawn. It occurs in ditches and any flooded sort of situation. Even buckets that you've left in the garden with water will be good enough for frogs to breed in. They're not that fussy. So very easy to attract into a garden. The clumps of spawn, which you can see there, jelly-like masses, between 300 to 500 eggs in each clump, and that's come from one female. So each of those clumps is from a different individual female. So the males are at the pond first, and they start croaking, that lovely deep throaty croak, to attract the females down to the pond to breed. Once they've spawned, the females generally up and leave immediately, leaving the males, all the guys, to just hang around during the summer and chill out around the pool. That's kind of the life that most humans would like, I think. If they're being honest with themselves. Have a bit of fun in the spring and then just chill out around the pool for the rest of the summer. Nice! Just listen to the croak for a while, get used to that sound. A lot of frenzied activity at the start of the year when the frogs arrive. The males generally vastly outnumber the females, so there's a lot of competition when the females arrive. And the males croak not only to attract the females, but also to tell other males that they are not a willing mating partner. So as one frog clamps onto the back of another frog thinking it's going to have a good time, if that other frog is a male and doesn't want to be mated with, obviously, it will croak to tell the other male to get off. Okay, toads will do the same. You'll have heard the quote from the film Field of Dreams, "If you build it, they will come," and that applies to garden ponds. If you put a garden pond in and it's got a good mix of plants and invertebrates, which will arrive by themselves generally, then you're going to get amphibians coming to use it. You don't need to go out into the wild and collect frog spawn or tadpoles or newts and bring them to your pond. And in fact, you definitely shouldn't do that because of the risk of spreading diseases. This fella here is actually suffering a little bit with Rana herpes, Rana virus. There's also red leg, there's chytridiomycosis, there's various other fungal and viral diseases that are coming in from the continent or from America via the pet trade, generally, and causing major concern for herpetologists about the safety of amphibian populations. And some are just being wiped out globally. So do not transport any amphibians at any life stage from one pond to the next. It is actually illegal by law. If you've got a garden pond, stuff will arrive. Don't worry about it. That is the end of the public service broadcast. Now on to how frogs croak. So with the common frog, Rana temporaria, which is what we're looking at here, I wish he'd put his tongue in. They use the whole of the throat when they call, when they produce their croak. With a lot of the European species and American and sort of other species around the world, you'll get the two little bubbles at the sides of the head, the sort of cheek sacs inflating when they croak, whereas with the common frog it's the whole throat distends. So take a good look at the heads of these two handsome chaps and look at the key features on them. Quite smooth skinned, very distinct nostrils, big eyes, lovely eyes actually, and behind the eye very distinct eardrum, a visible eardrum, the tympanum. Okay, so there you go. Delightful. Benefits of having frogs in the garden. Why you should put a pond in? Well, entertainment value as much as anything. And they're a predator, and they will eat lots of insects and slugs in your garden. So if you're a bit precious about some of your plants and you don't like them being chewed to bits by slugs, then get a pond and hopefully you will attract some amphibians which will control your pests. And they are entertaining to watch. So now we're moving on to the common toad, Bufo bufo. They like similar habitats, but they're a little more choosy about the ponds they use. They like a large body of water, generally quite deep, and unlike the frogs, which will all spawn in one corner, a sunny shallow corner of a pond, toads will make use of the whole margin of a pond. You'll sort of be able to walk around even lakes and see toads spawning at all points. Key features of the toad: the legs aren't as thick and muscular, the back legs, as they are in frogs, because toads tend to walk everywhere rather than hop everywhere. Frogs will always hop, regardless of whether they're alarmed or surprised or relaxed. Toads, there's a little stubby back legs, they walk everywhere. There's the back legs of a common frog, thick and muscular, they hop. No visible eardrum in the toad, but those bulges behind the eyes are a distinct feature. They're the parotid glands that secrete the toxins. Toads are a lot less tasty than frogs. Let's listen to the mating call in the toad. It's quite different to the frog. So this little fellow was lucky and clasped onto that female as soon as she arrived. Anybody else who tries to get in on the action gets a foot in the face. Now you can see the spawn trailing from the female in that long string with the eggs in little clusters along the length of the string there. And that's the distinct difference between frog spawn and toad spawn, is the toad spawn is in strings, frog spawn's in clumps. He's having no luck at all, that fella. What can sometimes happen is several males will attach themselves to a female in a big clump, which can cause the female problems. In fact, you'll often find drowned female frogs and toads at the bottoms of ponds because they've been suffocated by several males in the acts of love. Ew. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you now can distinguish between the common frog and the common toad in the UK and Europe, and you understand the benefits of building a pond and having them in your garden. So get out there and start digging. No excuses. Happy gardening. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.